Okay, but he can't get better, right?
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Those highlights, those numbers.
He's just a rookie.
Welcome to Good.
He's just a baby, Kyle.
Saquon did win Rookie of the Year honors in 2018. Will he add those MVP honors to his resi in 2019? Plenty more from the NFC East coming up right now on Good Morning Football all day long on NFL Network. And please head over to NFL.com. They have all the goods.
Yeah. Ready to rock and roll. What's up? What's up, Kay?
How you doing?
I'm good.
Speaking of goods,
We're
Ray.
here. We're
going
live.
on?
Kyle Brandt is back. It's July 8th. Let's do it. Time for the
Lead block.
training camp. Just around the corner, and today on NFL Network, we are breaking down the NFC East. A reminder, you can catch Eagles tackle Lane Johnson tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern on Total Access. And speaking of the Eagles, no teams repeated as division champs since the Eagles won four straight titles. That was between 2001 and 2004. Kyle, what were you doing in those years?
I was in the town of Salem, a fictional town on NBC, Days of Our Lives. It was a one-legged race car driver. You can look it up.
Can we see footage of that?
Sure.
Would you clear that? So we could...
I'll clear it. I don't know about the peacock.
How have we not done that before?
It's really
Right
good.
about
I'm
that.
very
We need
good
to break
at
that down.
We need a whole show dedicated to Kyle's old footage.
fine.
Absolutely. Besides the quarterbacks. What is that eyebrow raise?
That was my move. That was a daytime drama. It was
I
my
want to
move.
know
Yeah.
who's
The Rock.
going to play the biggest role in crowning the champion of this division this season, boys.
Okay. I'm looking at Dallas.
Okay.
And I'm looking back to early last season, a Dallas Cowboy team that was 3-4, and Dak is out there, and it's Michael Gallup and Cole Beasley and Allen Hurns, and it wasn't it. It wasn't working. Amari Cooper shows up, and he becomes the biggest X factor. Ironic, the guy who's replacing the guy who threw up the X. I'm going to look at Amari Cooper again. I think he makes them a completely different team, a completely different offense. Tore down the stretch last year. In the month of November, December, he was so good. Whole offseason with Dak, whole training camp. I think it's going to become between Dallas and Philadelphia. We know Dak, we know Zeke, we know the defense. If you're looking for some guy who's going to have to make a huge play in a huge game, it is number 19 right there. I think Amari really plays a big role in the NFC East.
I'm going to go with Jason Witten. I feel like him returning back to this team is the ultimate X factor.
What's he going to do? What do you think?
I'm not sure what he's going to do from a production standpoint. I'm not sure if he's going to be as fast as he used to be. But I do know this. When he was on the field for whatever quarterback he played with, he was the ultimate crutch. When things weren't going well, when players weren't open, when wide receivers couldn't get separation, you found Jason Witten. Maybe he has a handful of touchdowns and right around 400, 500 yards, but the simple fact that he can anchor this team in a way and have experience that these guys don't have in moments that matter, that's going to be significant for this squad. Because I think that's the ultimate question, right? Aside from Jason Garrett, this team is very, very young. The superstars are very, very young. Their offensive coordinator is very, very young. Kellen Moore is one of those X factors. So Jason Witten, for me, he's going to be able to bring, I think, just a level of calm when the storm hits. Because you best believe this is the NFC East. It always gets crazy. The storm is going to hit.
And then there's Dak, of course, that we can add as being a huge factor in who's going to be crowned, or Zeke, who's their bread and butter.
No doubt.
But it is Kellen Moore. You mentioned it. It's going to be so interesting to see as a first-time play caller how creative. Everyone wants them to be creative. Pull out the bag of tricks. What do you want? They have Zeke Elliott. They have Amari Cooper. How much more creative do you want them to get? I don't want them to get too cute, Kyle, especially at the goal line.
Yeah. We want creativity. Do you want them to start throwing flea flickers and have Zeke split out wide? It works pretty well when he's lined up behind the quarterback and you hand it to him. But we do need a little something. Just a little, okay?
A little something.
Keep it fresh.
Little spice?
Spice it up. Yeah, a little bit.
What do you got?
Which quarterback is what I've got, Kay? We're looking at the NFC East, of course. What do you think has the best around them? We're talking about Zeke, that Dak has. Certainly Carson Wentz has a whole bunch of stuff to play with. But which quarterback, whether it's Eli or the guys in Washington, has the best supporting cast? What do you got?
All right, now, Eagles fans, Cowboys fans.
What are you about to say?
Giants fans, just relax.
Yeah,
Don't tear my head off. I am at Nate Burleson on Twitter, though. I'll say the Redskins. I'll say Haskins, Dwayne Haskins, if he is your starting QB. For the simple fact that what's going to anchor this division is the strongest running game possible. Okay. There's a weight of the world on the shoulders of Zeke, the weight of the world on the shoulders of Saquon. We get it. The Eagles can be a hard-nosed running team, but I feel like the supporting running back room cast, is phenomenal in Washington.
Nate, remember in 300 when he goes, choose your next sports carefully. They may be your last
I'm a little
as king.
nervous about this.
Yeah, this is. Are you about to kick me into the pits? To the abyss?
This is Dallas. Boom.
You're right. But I'm just saying, Adrian Peterson, right? Chris Thompson, the Army knife.
Yeah.
And then Darius Geis, who's going to be furious this year with his running style. Jordan Reed, who is the ultimate, can you stay healthy, bro? And then Paul Richardson, who is another, can you stay healthy, bro? With these guys on the field, everybody healthy, I feel like this is it. Now, when you have the running backs in these other teams, they have to do it all. But there's a smooth rotation of running backs for the Washington Redskins. If you can rotate these guys in and out, and each individual feels like they can be a monster in this league, I'm going with the Washington Redskins. I really do believe this is the best supporting, especially for a rookie. They need like talented individuals. They have a sweet blend of OGs, Adrian Peterson, all the way to a young guy.
I'm worried about the offensive line. I hope they can be healthy and come together because I don't know what kind of holes those running backs are going to run through. But when clicking on all cylinders, I'm loving the mid-July optimism out of you, Nate.
Show some love to the Redskins.
Yeah.
I think it's Eagles.
Okay.
I really do. It's hard to not say
Talk about
Alshon
it.
Jeffrey, Zach Ertz, Miles Sanders, Jordan Howard, Deshaun Jackson being back. This team is loaded, and their offensive line has 4 Pro Bowlers. They added a guy. Like, they're pretty much ready to win now. If Wentz stays healthy, this is the team.
I feel like all these conversations we're going to have all summer, there's so many pick'ems for me between Philly and Dallas. Like, they're both so loaded. And I'll pick Dallas. Nate, I like the Washington backfield as much as the next guy. Darius Geis has never had a meaningful carry in the league. Adrian Peterson, I love, he's old. Zeke is in his prime. Zeke wants to get paid. Zeke is making some mistakes away from the game that he needs to atone for with carries. I just look at Amari, Zeke. Are you telling me Randall Cobb is not going to have 60 catches for Dak this year? Because I think he's going to. I think it's Dallas, and I would include the supporting cast as the monsters they have on defense. Dallas is loaded. I mean, this is the year. I say it over and over. This is the year.
Your thoughts on the NFC East and who takes the crown and how they do it at hashtag GMFB. We appreciate and love your tweets, and they help drive the show, so get to it. Now, a non-quarterback hasn't won the league MVP since Adrian Peterson did it back in 2012. Does Saquon, speaking of NFC East run game, does he have what it takes to take the MVP in 2019?
It's tough. It's really tough. I think he has a good shot at it. And I've said that before. I think he's going to win the MVP in his career. Adrian Peterson, when he did it, had a lot of things going for him, all right? He was coming off a big knee injury, so he had the story. He had an inferior quarterback in Christian Ponder, which helped him, made him look more impressive. And most importantly, he had that 2,000 yards. That's a very nice number for voters. Here's what I think about Saquon. All of us in the media are waiting for somebody to do the 1,000 and 1,000. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. I think if you hit 1,000 and 1,000 and the Giants get to the playoffs, that's what it takes. Because the last part's important. You cannot win the MVP if you don't go to the playoffs.
That's what I'm saying. So you're saying I'm going to be picking between Philly and the Cowboys all offseason long. Where do you see the Giants making the playoffs?
I don't.
So how can he win the MVP?
I think they got a shot. I mean, we're in July. I think he has the shot to go 1,000 and 1,000. But even if he does 1,200, and they're 7-9, I don't think they'll give it to him.
Yeah, there's so many things that have to work in your favor if you're a running back up for the MVP award. In most situations, when an offense is good, the MVP award goes to the quarterback.
Yeah.
And in this situation, I think it would be different because if you have a guy like Saquon who's going to be phenomenal with the ball in his hands coming out of the backfield, he can still have a ton of catches, and your quarterback might not be the best quarterback in the NFL. Now, if a quarterback is feeding a wide receiver, your wide receiver is the best in the game, they're going to give it to the QB. That's just how it works because the QB is the one delivering the rocks. But if Eli Manning is dumping the ball off, hitting screen routes to Saquon, and he is just doing what Saquon does and becomes that running back with 1,000 and 1,000, and they sneak in the playoffs, they can look at Eli, look at his numbers, and then look at the running back and say, Saquon carried this team. And if he carries his team into the playoffs, yeah, he could be the MVP.
I left him off of my MVP list. I did the top 5, and that was the one glaring. It was really hard for me to take him off. Every reason you guys said is correct. I just don't see them making the playoffs this year over a guy like Le'Veon Bell, who I put on my list. Because I think Baker Mayfield will take his team to the playoffs, and that might make the difference in an MVP situation. I think Le'Veon Bell, that he will carry that team and bring them into the playoffs. It's easier for him in that division, I think, after the Patriots, than this situation with those two juggernauts, the Cowboys and Philly.
You know, Le'Veon was up very early tweeting this morning.
What was he saying?
At 5:15 in the morning, he tweeted just a heart emoji. I don't know what that means. I don't know what he's doing.
Because he knew we were back.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Le'Veon, we love you. But he's up.
Ya.
He's up working.